Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Hembar, and today I have my full name on display here because I forgot to change it after recording my last lecture for my Alfred Homily project channel. But anyways, I have a weekly update. It's Liam Leapings number 128. I'm going to try to go through this quickly. I finished 4 books. I didn't do one of these last week, actually, because I had been out of town. And then something else. Oh, school started. So it's been busy around here. So I finished 4 books in the last 2 weeks then, rather than 4 in 1 week like I normally do. And I have right here. It's 4 books, I promise. Though it looks like it's more than 4. I can explain. There's some duplicates in the sense here. I finished Well of Shuan by C.J. Cherry. I like this one a lot more than I like Gate of Ivorel. Now, it might just be a time thing. I read Gate of Ivorel like 3 years ago. It is reviewed on this channel because my channel's been around that long. But and this is also just one of the best Michael Whalen covers I've ever seen, to be completely honest. This is awesome. And this is a good book. Now, it didn't blow me away still. And I think I probably still like Angel with the Sword by Cherry better. But this is still really good, and I'm liking Morgaine a lot more. And this one is just really like dour. It's pretty much a dying Earth setting in this book. Not in the first book, because this book series takes place over multiple worlds, pretty much. It's kind of science fantasy. Feels more like fantasy, but wow, this is a pretty depressing setting. Very interesting and very fun, though. I liked it a lot. Besides just Vanya, we have another character who's native to this world, and she's young. And we get some of her perspective, though really only at the very beginning and very end. She's just kind of there for parts, the rest of the book. But otherwise, we get more adventures of Vanya and then Morgaine here with her sword changeling. That is not a sword. And she is as alien as ever. I think Cherry does a great job of really not connecting you with Morgaine. Maybe a little bit, maybe hints where you think, oh, yeah, wow, she's just like me. And then next page, wow, she's terrible. Right? Not like me at all. Anyways, great book. Another really good book is The Dark Hand of Magic by Barbara Hamley. This one is maybe a little more gruesome, darker than others. The first 2 books is the last book in the series, though I believe she wrote several novelettes that could probably be combined into one anthology, but have not been. And this is really good. It kind of reminds me of Black Company or the Malazan stuff. You get the mercenary stuff back like you kind of had in the first book. I just really like Sunwolf and Starhawk. They're a very capable duo, and they're not, in any traditional sense, a normal duo. They are a romantic couple, right? But like they are very fun. This is the first Barbara Hamley I've read, and I'm definitely going to be reading more. I'm not exactly sure. I have a few or series, so Jerry is mostly the one who's provided me with those, actually. So, and he provided me with this as well. So, really stinking good. I'm excited to read more Barbara Hamley. I'm not sure again what that will be, but really good example of 1980s, what people would say classic heroic fantasy. And though this one came out in 1990, I believe, but the first 2 are in the 80s. Really stinking good. Looking forward again to more Hamley, and looking forward to reviewing that one in a few months. But then I also finished, if you remember from a couple weeks ago, I was reading a Magician, and so I read Magician's Apprentice and Magician Master. Over here, the 2-volume set, and then I have the 1-volume set. I finished it, and I saw a review. Actually, I didn't watch it, but it was some creator said, at least in the thumbnail, pretty much, only read it if you're an epic fantasy fan, and I can pretty much agree with that. It really isn't the greatest. I mean, it does hit D&D things, and it does hit even the Tecumel stuff, which is interesting. It does have some interesting stuff going on. It's just not super noteworthy. I think I didn't enjoy it really all that much. When we had Pug, actually, I was enjoying it a lot. But then later in the book 1, and then lots of book 2, if you're reading it that way, you get a lot of other characters. It's like Arutha gets a lot of time, and Tomas, and I didn't really care for Arutha's parts really much at all. Tomas has some interesting stuff going on, though, when we get to like the Elf Queen stuff. The female characters in these books are just like not the best. They're not terrible. The Elf Queen was pretty disappointing in some ways, but I will definitely be reading the next 2 books. So it wasn't like so disappointing. I think part of the problem was it was just so long in some sense, and the next two books are like half the size. I think the next book, Silverthorn, yeah, is like less than half the size of Magician. So uh, again, I don't have those physically, but I can probably find another way to read them if I don't get them physically. I haven't been buying much books lately. That's not really in the budget. But the other book I finished was one I bought a couple years ago, and that is To Ride Hell's Chasm by Janie Wirtz. And I just want to say up front, I know a lot of people seem to love this. I did not. I did really enjoy it. And it's far from perfect, I think. The ending, the last third of it's just kind of like really, it didn't really work that great. I think you just leave behind a bunch of the other stuff that's going on, and it never comes back. The first third is kind of okay. It's interesting, but it's really slow to start. Really slow. Now I think the sorcery is handled great. I think it's handled magnificently. The sense of like terrible, dreadful sorcery is great, and I really like the characters. I really like Mikhail, and I like how the story went. It's just kind of long and drawn out in some sense. Uh, um, Anya was okay, Anja, whatever you want to say it as, or however it is supposed to be said. This seems to be a lot of people's favorite. I'm really still kind of on a no for reading Wars of Light and Shadow, because this was kind of my test for her longer epic fantasy book, and though I did enjoy it, you just gotta really convince me if you want me to read an 11-book series. So, and I was not quite convinced. It's not necessarily a no. I did enjoy it. Like I said, I enjoyed it considerably more than Master of White Storm, which I found very forgettable. I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it's a good book. It's not great in my opinion. In I don't think I'd really ever recommend it unless someone was really looking for something like it, which is how recommendations should work, anyways. So, yeah, it wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. I'm trying to convey my feelings properly. I enjoyed it. I think the middle part was by far the best. The cohesiveness of the whole story is a little lacking, I think. The ending is a bit bittersweet and is done okay. Definitely not the most bittersweet ending I've ever read, and not the best one. I mean, heck, like The Sword of Rionin, which is considerably older than this, has a better bittersweet ending. But it's really not bad. Not bad. I really can't complain that much, besides the fact that it's just a little uneven, I think. So, yes, there's that. Anyways, the last book I finished, because I think, no, that was it. Those are 4 books. So, Dryad's Hellchasm, Magician, The Dark Hand of Magic, and Welsh One. There was one more book I am finished with. I did not finish it. I am DNFing it. I hardly ever don't finish books that I start that I plan on finishing. There's sometimes I'll start a book, I get like literally a chapter in, I'll be like, oh, let's put this off for later, but it's not really what I would call a DNF. This is definitely a DNF unless I highly change my mind, and that is Kate Elliott's The Witch Rose. I feel really bad actually because I got an arc about that for this, and I thought I would enjoy it, but I really just don't care. Like I really lost interest in it. Like it just was not working out for me. I was 20% in and I still didn't care, like really at all. And so that's just not good enough for me. It doesn't have to be high stakes. Doesn't have to be epic fantasy, though it is high stakes. It's not really like epic and super into action, but it's just boring. I think it's written in a very modern fantasy style in some sense, not focused on romance, so to speak, but it just feels kind of pathetic in a sense. I feel like a lot of modern people have a tendency to be rather pathetic, and I say that saying I am rather pathetic too. And I don't know how if I'm expressing this properly, but I think there's just a tendency to be kind of pathetic about some things, and I think that was kind of the vibe I was getting from this book. But just really into the trauma type of thing. It kind of reminds me of like some Brandon Sanderson, right? It's just really kind of like whatever. So it's really not bad from the 20%. I really couldn't say anything that was bad about it. I just didn't care pretty much so. So besides the fact that it was giving me, the characters seem like modern people, which is why I don't care, right? It's the same problem I have with like another book I'm reading actually is the Dealing with Dragons by J. Lee Johnson, the next Forgotten Realms novel, is that it doesn't feel like Forgotten Realms. It doesn't feel like a fantasy world. It feels like a caricature because it kind of feels just like modern people, right? Like it's trying to appeal to like younger millennials or older or just Gen Z in general, which in their brain rot. But it just feels like a cartoon reality in some sense, and I just don't care. I like to be more serious in a sense. I don't know, because I don't read Forgotten Realms for the seriousness. Really, not at all. Like not even close, right? But when you've taken this world and turned it into a cartoon, that's just kind of lame. J. Lee Johnson does do a good job of writing, though, and she's keeping my attention, even though the style of the book, which I know is really not her choice at all. I'm sure it's Wizards of the Coast, who is a pretty garbage company these days. So, but yeah, Dealing with Dragons is okay so far. Wow, I really don't mean to say these rants. And I don't know if anyone understands, but I don't think I clarified that feels modern in a sense. I studied art in school, and I have a strong dislike of like modernism and postmodernism, like as far as like art and just how people express themselves. I think a lot of it is worthless. I think people have this idea that everything has worth or artistic worth. I guess everything has worth, right? I mean, like, hell, I'm even Christian and I will say everything has a divine worth, right? But like, not artistically so much. And I think that is right. Some books just are not great, or really, I'm just not the audience. I mean, I will be the first to say that. So I mean, like, um, these last two books, though, The Witch Roads and Dealing with Dragons, just kind of remind me of that. So this modern art stuff, which I say that actually, and maybe it's just the low end of it, right? Because I say that, and I actually really enjoy a lot of the other. I actually enjoy that the toolbox in some sense of the postmodern novel. Um, they're not always entertaining though, and I don't know. If you watch the channel, you'll know what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy. So, like I definitely plan on reading more uh, modern books. It's just how they handle them, right? Like Malazan really has a similar thing going on, but it handles it way better, right? It doesn't feel like a cartoon, and it doesn't. It's not pathetic, or at least it's not pathetic where it's not expressly deserves to be, pretty much, as us humans are. Anyways, I need to hurry up because it's taking too long. I'm really close to finishing Tangled Webs by Elaine Cunningham, book 2 in Starlight and Shadow. I'm really enjoying it. I don't have much to say now because this video is too long. I'll tell you more about it next week. I'm also very not far in, a few chapters in, to Instrument of Fate by Christy Golden. It is definitely a spoiler to say this, but every time I've looked this book up, every single thing I see on it, even if it's just every single review on Goodreads, mentions there's rape in this. Okay, and so while that is a spoiler, like that is the kind of what the book is dealing with in some sense, but it is in a very Tolkien-esque type of setting, D&D-esque, right? There's elves, well, not really dwarves, right? So it's just elves and humans relations, pretty much. And I really like Christy Golden's IP fiction that I've read, like the Forgotten Realms stuff or the World of Warcraft stuff, but haven't read anything of her own creation. That's what this is. There is another book in this world. I don't think it's a sequel though, and I don't remember what it's called right now. And then I'm also a few chapters into Rhymer Hell. I just call it Hell, really. I don't know why each book has Rhymer in it. It's Rhymer and then Hood and Hell, but it's called Rhymer, Hood, Rhymer, Hell. Trilogy by Gregory Frost. Really stinking good. I'm really enjoying this so far, even though I'm just a few chapters in. I really enjoyed the first two books. So this one just came out on Tuesday, and so I'm happy to be reading it. I'm just reading that digitally. And then since I will try to stop giving you rants, I'm in the middle of the Eddas. I'm actually pretty far into Snorri's prose Edda. Not that far into the poetic Edda yet, just what I have to read for class, pretty much. I'm enjoying these. These are things that I was somewhat pretty much familiar with anyways, but haven't actually read them. So, or at least not strictly. Like we read the Voluspa in the Poetic Edda this week. Really cool to finally read, and actually really darn short. It's interesting that in this, I read Gylfaginning, and there's the part I feel like that gets the most attention, besides maybe Ragnarok at the end, is like Thor and Loki doing stuff. Some of these chapters are really short, right? Like you can see Hode's here. super short. See that? It's a small paragraph. So um, some of them are a few pages long. None of them are long, really. They're like Ollie or Volley, right? Yeah, it's a one sentence chapter. So, anyways, I'm enjoying it. It's nice to be getting into the myths of my Norse class. Later on, we'll get more into legends and then move in strictly into like sagas, which are much more historical based. But anyways, I am enjoying these. It's nice to be back in school. I wasn't able to take classes last semester, and technically, my class this semester doesn't fit my schedule either. There's a good chance I'll be fired actually for just taking classes, which is beyond ridiculous. Um, invoke the nether beings or pray for me. Um, yes. Anyways, that's my weekly update. I hope y'all are reading well and doing well. Sorry for my complaints. I think maybe that's actually why I'm not a big fan of Witch Roads or even have my problems with dealing with dragons, though, is that there are much better modern books like Malazan or a lot of Gene Wolfe stuff or just other books, more literary bent, right? And so when they have modern stuff in it but it's not literary, that just maybe it just that irks me for some reason. I wonder. Um, but you cannot convince me that something like um, what's his name, Barnett Newman knows a good artist. Anyways, Liam's Lyceum. Thanks for watching.